Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to this podcast, this video. Welcome to my tiny house about a conversation with Stinging Nettle. Right now, I am sitting in the end of February. There's snow outside, it's cold, but it's also the perfect time to start talking about nettle, working with nettle. My name is Eva Maria. I help people connect with nature, deeper with their own nature inside of them and nature around. It's kind of helping people come back to that sense of homecoming, that sense of belonging within themselves, to themselves, and to the earth. And here I really work with plants as teachers, as guides. And Stinging Nettle is one of the first plants if I have plant mystery apprenticeships or if I'm out doing workshops with plant communication, then Stinging Nettle is one of the first plants I will let people work with. And there's a lot of layers, a lot of depth. I've been working with this plant for the past maybe 6 years, and every year there's new, like, wow, okay, this and this and this. And of course I've known nettle my whole life and I've had experiences my whole life, but it's these past 6 years that I've really connected with its spiritual medicine and the deeper layers of nettle. And so for today's conversation, we cannot go into everything. I want to make this kind of a good snack bite for all of you, but I will try to bring in what feels the most important right now and to help you get a little open door into the world of nettle. Yeah, so drinking nettle for me, and I drank some before, and I feel I'm sitting here with some nettle extract that I've made. You can see it's black, potent. It can almost feel like drinking black tea, like being full of caffeine. It's like, woo, the kick. So I'm sitting here all buzzing of energy. And I think the good place to start the conversation with nettle is really talking about the wheel of the year and when nettle comes in. Because there's a reason why plants grow as they grow and when and where. And here in Europe, nettle is wild. And with that, I mean one thing, that it's wild and it grows where it wants to, but also it hasn't been cultivated in the same way, let's say like rose or an apple tree or our vegetables, where humans have been changing it for and like cultivating, choosing certain varieties of it, and thus cultivating bigger apples, smaller seeds, all these things. Nettle has a wildness. And so for many that connects with it, they feel that ancient, sometimes almost scary wildness, but also this, like, its design is as it hasn't been changed. It is still in its natural wild state. And I love that about nettle. And so when we look at the wheel of the year, right now, where I am here right now, at the end of February, it's been a long winter. There's very little nourishment out in nature. And nettle is really one of the first things that pops up, if not the first thing. It is like, this is the first greens that we see. New life, new things. And I already found nettle in my garden like maybe a month and a half ago, like starting to pop up, right? So it's really, yay, this first green of a new year. And it's very saying that nettle pops up like that. And the way that I see it is that nettle, like in biodynamic gardening or biodynamic, farming, you can work with nettle as a fertilizer, natural fertilizer. So you work with it to nourish the soil, to nourish the plants. And so if you want to have a beautiful blooming garden, you don't start with planting salad or roses, you start with nourishing the soil. And it's the same with nettle. It actually nourishes our inner soil, full of minerals, iron, like all these yummy things that we need to actually start being able to intake things and to nourish our both physical, our body, our soil, but also spiritually, to start receiving medicine, to start receiving energy, to start receiving the new, planting new, and so the whole next cycle can start doing its thing, right? And I see it's a little like if we're dehydrated and drink more water, but don't drink more salt or don't get electrolytes, we cannot take in the water. We need electrolytes to actually start being able to take in the water. And in that way, I feel that nettle is our natural electrolyte. It's like helping us on a physical, but also very spiritual level, be able to receive. And for most people in the West, this is an issue for them. At least that's what I see in my clients, or that's what I see in my community and in my family. Like, to actually be receptive to nourishment, and to really be receptive to life and to nature and to yourself. And it's so yummy that nettle can teach us this. Now, I know that many herbalists and many have this perspective that nettle it's a super safe plant to work with. It's so mineral rich, so everybody should just drink nettle, and especially women. They should just like go crazy with nettle and just continue. And it's safe in that way. And to a big extent, I would agree. And also, there's a big but here. It's kind of the same with, like, I feel that there's this idea that most women have too little iron, so we should all just get more iron. And I have almost too much iron in my system. I actually don't need more iron. And it's actually quite common as well that a lot of people have a lot of iron. So it's not just this one size fits all, just go crazy. It is a potent plant. And so I want to bring that in, that it's like for the majority of us, it makes sense to work with nettle physically and energetically. But for some, it might make sense to work a little bit with it physically, but then mainly energetically, and not so much just drinking a whole bunch of it all the time. So also just there's a big thing here, which is about feeling into where you are, sensing into what your body actually needs, right? Yeah. And so I want to mention with nettle, like with most plants and herbs, it's like if you're just brewing a tea, so you're putting nettle, boiling water over, and then you drink it, you're not really getting a lot of yumminess. So you need to make an extract. So you can put the nettles, boiling water over, and let it stand overnight, for instance. So get 4, 6, 8 hours in the water. Then you get this kind of black potent. If you're watching the video, you can see this more juicy, potent brew. And this, for me, that's how you want to drink nettle. And you can make a bottle like this, like a liter, and drink it a day or a week, or and for some it really is like with so many things when we work with herbs like this, you can't just drink it once and then you got all the minerals you need. You might have to drink it for a month or for 2 or for 3, but again, depending on what you need. And so I'm not telling you to drink nettle every day for 3 months. Nope. I'm telling you to explore it and to listen in. Yeah. So another really, maybe the key, but I mean there are many key things with nettle, but we talked about the nourishment, we talked about nourishing the soil, fertilizing our inner garden. So then the next plants come in the wheel of the year, right? Then we would start having dandelion coming and like kapowing into our liver, opening, okay, now we're ready. And then cleavers come and give us water. And then slowly, then the roses. And then, then we go through the year with the next and the next and the next. But so many things when we start with nettle really helps. Opens up, nourish the soil for all the rest that then comes. So that doesn't mean, like, in some ways you can say, so again, like February, March, April, May, perfect months to work with nettle, work with fresh nettle. But you can work with it all year round. But just if you're harvesting it yourself, as soon, like when it starts making its fruits, flowers, whatever we want to call it, then it gives its energy in there into the seeds and not into the leaves anymore. So that's not a time to harvest nettle. Then almost all year round, new nettle pops up, right? Yeah. So I'm having 2 conversations in my mind at the same time, sitting here high on nettle, like duck, 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 duck. What I want to mention now, what comes is that I see nettle kind of growing like small families. So if you have an oak tree, you have the spirit of the oak, but then you have a tree, and that gets its own sovereignty, its own personality. So you might feel really connected to one tree, but not another tree, even though both are oaks or both are birches. And with nettle, I don't feel it's so much like one nettle and the other nettle, but it's, its roots grow long, and then there are all these different nettles popping up of the same root. So it's more like patch for patch. So it's like a little family of nettle that's growing together, and they have a little more of a hive mentality almost. It's like, we, the family of nettle, this is what we want to bring on. This is our energy, or this is our statement. So it's this like small nettle families. Oh, hi, kitty cat. My cat is just coming. I will open the door for her. Yeah, come in, Musse. Yeah, hi, Bagheera. Yeah. That's good. She needs to come in here too. Yeah, so nettle grows in these like patches and these families. And if you're working with harvesting nettle, I would really invite you to always leave like the king or the queen, the biggest one. Leave the community leader to guide the little nettle community. And then you can harvest the other ones. Now here we come to the next part where if the first part was the nourishing, the soil, the fertilizing, then this part about structure and boundaries. Yay! Most people that I know have a tendency to people please. And so when I talk about boundaries, they're like, oh no, that's bad. And I'm like, yes, structure, boundaries, yay. And it's not just the engineer in me, it's like, maybe this has been the most important teaching I've gotten from working with like therapy and plant ceremonies for the past decade. It really is about holding structure for myself, holding healthy boundaries. So like when I say that, I mean noticing a boundary, sensing the boundary, stating the boundary, and holding the boundary. So it's not like, oh, here's a boundary, no to that, but then allowing something to slip in from behind and then do it anyway, right? Sensing it, stating it, holding it. And that's a beautiful thing when we work with nettle. If you're not present with her, really there, you're gonna get a sting. And even if you're present, you might still get a sting. So I would always invite you to work with nettles barehanded. Like really get her medicine. Allow the sensual, beautiful sting. Don't put on gloves. It's like she has beautiful, and that's where I would say like a feminine temple. It's like here's a fiery boundary, and you don't just put on gloves and ignore that boundary. Like, no, you feel it, you're sensing it, you're there. And there's no way to seduce her. There's no way to sneak in. There's no way to get around. Like, nettle holds her boundary. This is it. It's here. It's not harsh. It's not evil. It's just a boundary, and it's clear. And so with that, it's also part of the iron, right? It's like, it's both like an armor, like this protective armor of like, here's the boundary. I hold space for all the yumminess inside to be yummy. It's like mothering, holding like a healthy structure for the child to be able to play around. And we're also used to small children having to take responsibility for maybe our regulating of our parents' emotions or all the people around us, all of our people pleasing, right? And then suddenly we have all these sensitive parts inside of us being out and taking all of this, where nettle can help teach us coming back into that beautiful mothering or that protection, that healthy boundary structure. Yeah. And with that also comes not leaking our energy out all the time. Again, like maybe we sense the boundary, maybe we state it, but then holding it. That's again the thing. Not allowing all these sneaking or guilt or shame, or which usually comes in when people can't hold the boundary, right? It's like, oh, I'm saying no, I know this is hard for you, but here's my boundary. And then comes in, oh man, I'm a shitty partner if I do this. Then guilt comes in and does its little thing, and then I'll do it anyway because I want to help my partner more than I want myself to be healthy. Like that's the people pleasing, right? So working with boundaries, stopping energy leaks, stopping giving away energy that doesn't belong somewhere else. That's the second part. So we have healthy boundaries, we have nourishing soil. And when we hold those healthy boundaries, when we have that nourishment inside, that which is also the community and that little family of nettles, then comes sensuality, eros, like the burn, the life force energy, the dancing, the energy. Then comes all this new life, wow, green, and it pops up. And it's such, that burn with the nettle, if you can really start working, and some traditions have, where you hit yourself with the nettle. You also, if you have arthritis or something, like to get the heat of it. But like really, and I'm not telling you to hit yourself with nettles. I mean, this is a video I'm posting online, so I'm like, I gotta be a little careful here. I do it sometimes, not like all over and naked, but I really think there's something really potent, which is both, again, being direct with the boundary and being and holding what is there, structure, caretaking, but also this sensuality, being in the senses, smelling nettle, touching nettle, being with that fire, that burn. It's like, And so there's such a whole world opening up there, which is so beautiful. So those are the three main things I say that I really feel nettle can teach us about: boundary, structure, nourishment, and sensuality. And with all of this, nettle can be quite a confrontational plant to work with. Not for everybody, but yeah, as I said, that I don't resonate to this thing that everybody should just do nettle all the time, especially if you're connecting with it on a spiritual way, right? Because one thing is, again, just ignoring nettle's boundaries, harvesting a bunch and just using the physicality. That's one level. I don't agree with that. That doesn't mean you can never use gloves, you know. It's not a dogma. But when we really connect with the spirit of nettle, when we sit down with her and not just want things, but just hang out with the nettle, sit and look at it, smell it. And when we then ask permission for its medicine, harvest it, and make it as medicine, it's a completely different world. And that's where, for some people who are very sensitive or have a lot of boundary things, it can be very intense to work with. It can be very confrontational because it is going into boundaries. You know, most people want a yes and not a no. And it doesn't mean forever. And a no is not like, but it's like, no. Yeah. And with that, so I really feel that nettle is one of those plants that are fun and playful to work with. Even though it has clear boundaries, it's like, yeah, it's that burn, it's that sensuality, it's fun. It's a fun plant to hang out with. Yeah. So yeah, like I talked about, with there can be some confrontation, there can be something where it's more difficult, fear resistance. I feel that, or I see kind of when I work with nettle with people, both again, like the sting and that clear communication is why it's such a good plant to start practicing plant communication, because you can't cheat it, you can't sneak around. But it's also a plant that for some people brings up a lot of fear, resistance, and kind of into the more kind of witch wound. So going into like, can I be that open? Or like, what are very sensitive parts of me? How do I honor it? Do I keep it in here? Do I put it out there where everybody can step on it? Like, it's back to these boundaries. And also just recognizing that this is an ancient, beautiful, wild plant. And for generations, if we've been connecting with that, those kind of medicine people and wisdom keepers have been, you know, burned at the stakes and been prosecuted and killed. So there is kind of a witch wound that can come up with this. And so it doesn't mean that nettle isn't a safe plant to work with. It's just confrontational. And I love it. I love the playfulness. I love the confrontation. I love the boundaries. But it can take some time to get there. It did for me. Yeah, I think one last thing I want to mention with nettle is really, for me, it has very much a connection to the Mary lineage, like, and I find this beautiful, clear energy, which is also very needed when we connect with nettle. And if it gets overwhelming, if it gets confrontational, it's really a good place to come back to that compassionate water, pure, soft, clear, yeah, energy. I see my husband coming to the door, so I think this was it for now. What I really want to mention is that I'm actually going to record a little nettle masterclass. So if you want to go deeper with nettle, if you want to learn how to make medicine with it, some practices to really help work with healthy boundaries and structure, and help connect deeper with sensuality with nettle. Because one thing is knowing, oh, here's a plant that has this, but if we can't access the true medicine of it and the deeper layers, we're really kind of just drinking a tea. And so I want to help you get beyond just drinking a tea and really connect with a teacher and a door opener of nettle. And so if you want that, I will put a link wherever this is. There's going to be a link, and you can go deeper with nettle like that. And then I'm gonna see my husband jumping around, cold in the snow out there. And goodbye from here, from my kitty cat, from me. And I hope that this will help you. And I hope this was a good little door into the world of nettle. Thank you for being here and for listening in. Bye-bye. Bye.